Monday Year 3, welcome to a new week of learning, and in fact it's the final week before half term, so you get a full week of chilling and not doing any home learning. However, we have one more week left, so please make it a good week. And let me shout out to my superstars this week. First of all, we have William. Well done, William. You have written some fantastic similes for your Green Night, and you use some amazing adjectives. Blake, well done. Look how neat your work is, Blake. And you even drew me a picture to match your similes when you described your Green Night too. And then Alfie David, congratulations. You got the most adjectives when we described our horror house. So well done. I can't even count on two hands how many adjectives you've got there because there are far too many. Well done. Okay, Year 3, to warm our brains up for Monday's learning, I've got a really fun challenge for you here, and it involves something called tongue twisters, and you may have seen these before, so I'm going to read them to you really quickly. We have, she sells seashells on the seashore, red lorry, yellow lorry. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper. Oh my goodness, that was so difficult to say. I wonder why it was so difficult to say. Let's see if you can spot it. But what I want you to do is to stand up and have a go at reading these sentences as quickly as you can. And Miss Morgan has even got a timer up on her iPad here. And I'm going to click start and see how long it takes me to say each sentence. And then I may want to record my time on my whiteboard. Okay, so let's see who can get the quickest time for your tongue twisters today. Hit pause on the video and off you go. I hope you didn't get your tongues in too much of a twist there, Year 3. I can't wait to see who has the fastest time for our tongue twisters. Okay, so for this week's learning, this is very important, so make sure you've got your ears listening. We are going to focus on the text called George's Marvellous Medicine, and it's written by Roald Dahl, the same author who writes Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which we have read a little bit in school. Okay, so we're going to start with some purple bookwork today because you have proved to me how fantastic you are at it. And we are going to make a prediction, or you're going to make your very own prediction about what the book is all about. So you're lucky if you've read this text, but if you haven't, I want you to look at the front cover. So it's called George's Marvellous Medicine, so that gives me a big clue about what's going to happen in the book. I'm going to predict what is happening. And he's got lots of medicine here. I wonder what he's put in it. Okay, and I'm going to look at my blurb. So what is the blurb? Take a look. Now, if you thought the blurb's the back of the book, you are correct. So let's read it together. George Cranky is 8 years old, the same age as you, and wondering what sort of mischief he might get into. He sounds like a bit of a cheeky boy. Georgie's grandma is a grizzly old grouch. She's a bit grumpy, and George wants to teach her a lesson. And when Grandma's finished drinking George's Marvellous Medicine, she'll really have something to grumble about. I wonder what's going to happen. Okay, so what you are going to need now is your purple book and your pen or pencil, and you are going to write your very own prediction, and I will model it for you if you need a bit of help. Okay, Year 3, so before we go through our learning challenge for today, I want you to show me that you can write a prediction like you did last week in our comprehension learning. So I have written Monday, the 8th of February on a clean page, my next clean page. And then my title today is George's Marvellous Medicine. Okay, if you need the spelling closer, then hit pause when I show you the book cover on the screen. Okay, so I'm going to write a prediction, but I'm going to use my whiteboard and my pen to help me. If you think you need some help, then pause the video and go and get your whiteboard and your whiteboard pen. Now, looking at the front cover of George's Marvellous Medicine, and then looking at my blurb, I know that George is mischievous, so he's a cheeky boy. So George capital letter because it's his name, is cheeky. Grandma is grumpy. And it's all about a medicine that George makes. Now, if his grandma's a bit grumpy, do you think he's going to make a very nice medicine? I don't think so. I think the medicine is going to be full of horrible things. Horrible. What other adjective could I use? Horrible. Disgusting ingredients, because we have ingredients in a recipe, don't we? Ingredients. Okay, so I've thought about the future and what could happen in that book now, and this will help me to write my prediction. So I start a prediction by saying I predict that, it's a capital letter, I predict that George's Marvellous Medicine is about George's Marvellous Medicine, and they all have capital letters because it's the name of the story. Marvellous Medicine is about, and now you are going to use your ideas on your whiteboard, or you can borrow Miss Morgan's, and you are going to write your prediction about what you think is going to happen in our book for our learning this week. Okay, so hit pause on the video. In a moment, I will keep up the front cover and the blue for you, and you can use this to help you with your prediction. Off you go. I can't wait to see your predictions about George's Marvellous Medicine in your Purple Books Year 3. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our story now, and you're going to see if your predictions are correct. Okay, so I'll say it really quickly, so make sure you're listening. Okay, so George's Marvellous Medicine is about a young boy called George, 8 years old, and he has to live with his grandmother. Now, his grandmother is quite old, okay, so she must have her medicine every single day. And George, being George and very curious and quite cheeky and mischievous, he thinks, I'm going to make my grandma some medicine, okay, and he puts all sorts of things in his medicine, all sorts of ingredients like paint, things out of the cupboard like lotions for his body, and even some bugs as well. So you can imagine how disgusting the medicine is. And I'm not going to ruin the end of the story for you in case you want to read it yourself, or you can watch the video on YouTube for George's Marvellous Medicine. But his granny doesn't get very well on this medicine, as you can imagine. I wonder if your predictions were the same as what happens in the story. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of today's learning. Okay, I bet you were wondering, Miss Morgan, why did you make us do those tongue twisters at the beginning? But it's got everything to do with today's learning for Monday, the 8th of February. So we have new learning today, so let's read our learning question carefully together. Can I use alliteration and commas to create ingredients for a marvellous medicine? So you're going to come up with some ingredients for a marvellous medicine, just like George did for his grandma. Okay, but we're going to use alliteration. Now think back to our tongue twisters. Okay, what did you notice that was so special about them that made you remember the sentences and why they were so difficult to read? Okay, let's see if you've got it right. It's because all of the words start with the same letter or the same sound. Can you see that? She sells, she seashells all begin with the letter S. We've got lorry repeated a lot. Okay, and we've got lots of P's in Peter Piper picked a peck of pipple pepper. Okay, so alliteration is where we use the same letter or the same sound at the beginning of our words. Okay, so I have written slippy, slimy, and I need a noun. I've got two adjectives there to make a two-way sentence, but I'm using alliteration. So I know my noun has got to start with what sound, what letter? An S. I could have a slippy, slimy snake, because snake starts with an S. Okay, the reason why we are doing alliteration today, Year 3, is because Roald Dahl uses it in his book, George's Marvellous Medicine. So let's read the extract from the book together, and this is on page 34, called The Cook-Up. It's the cook-up. What do you think is happening in the story? What is George doing? Okay, let's read it together. Fiery broth and witch's brew, foamy froth and riches blue, fume and spume and spoondrift spray, fizzle, swizzle, shout array. Watch it sloshing, swashing, sploshing, hear it hissing, squishing, spitting, Grandma better start to pray. Isn't that so difficult to read because it's got alliteration in? Now, where is the alliteration in our extract from our story? Can you spot it? Hit pause on the video and see if you can spot alliteration. Okay, let's see if you have found it. So I can see, oh, I can't see alliteration in the first line because fiery starts with a F and broth starts with a B. Foamy froth? Is that alliteration? Yes, it is. They both start with a F. Fume and spume and spoondrift spray. Spume and spoondrift spray. We've got an alliteration of the S sound. And have we got any others? Let's have a look. Sloshing, swashing, sploshing. Oh goodness, that's so difficult to say, Year 3. I am going to ask you a very important question now. Okay. And my question is, why does Roald Dahl use alliteration in his story? Think about, well, when I read those tongue twisters that had alliteration in, what did it help me to do? Did I find it funny? Okay, so I've got some reasons here, which I think is the reason why Roald Dahl may use alliteration. It sticks in your mind. You don't forget it because it's so difficult to read and it's fun. I giggled so much the first time I read that extract because I found it so difficult to read once again. Okay, so it's a very clever thing for authors to use in their stories because people want to read more. Just like magic, I am back at my purple book again, Year 3. Okay, so now you have a purple book task to do. So hit pause on the video if you've put it away. Make sure you've got your pen or your pencil ready. Okay, so below my prediction, I have left a line to make my work neat. And I have written, why does Roald Dahl use alliteration? Now, Roald Dahl has a funny spelling, and I've used capital letters because it's the author's name. Why does he use alliteration? So I know that alliteration is the repeating of the same letter or the same sound. And how did it make me feel when I read that? Oh, I remember, I think Roald Dahl uses it because it's quite difficult to read, so it sticks in the reader's brain. Or I think Roald Dahl uses alliteration because it's funny, so people would want to read more. Okay, so now you are going to write me a sentence to answer this question. Don't forget your question mark. So we're talking about Roald Dahl, so I'm going to miss a line and write Roald Dahl uses alliteration. And what do you think word I'm going to use next to give reason why? Well done if you got any of these conjunctions. So I could use since, as, or because. Don't forget Miss Morgan is a very big fan of the conjunction since. So Roald Dahl uses alliteration. Since, what does my conjunction need after it? A comma. Okay. So remember, why does Roald Dahl use alliteration? I will leave the pictures up on the board to help you with your purple book work. Okay, so write your sentence and complete it. Give me a reason why. Okay, Year 3, we are one step closer to creating our very own Marvellous Medicines. Okay, year 3, we are one step closer to making our ingredients for our own marvellous medicines. But before we do that, task number 1, get your listening ears on for some very important information. Number 2, imagine these ingredients in the most disgusting medicine ever. And number 3, these are my ingredients that I'm going to put in my marvellous medicine. I got worms, caterpillars and slugs. Ooh. And I need to come up with some adjectives for these. But what's important about today's learning is not just to describe the ingredients I'm putting in my marvellous medicine. I need to use some alliteration. So, your task now is you are going to get your whiteboard and your whiteboard pen, and you are going to write worm, caterpillar and slug, and you can split them into 3 groups. And you have got to think of some adjectives for these creatures in Miss Morgan's marvellous medicine, but they must start with the same letter because we are going to make some alliteration. So what starts with a W sound that I could put in my worm category? What about a wobbly worm? Wobbly is a great adjective. Wobbly. Okay, let's see if you can get quite a bit more than Miss Morgan. Caterpillar starts with a curly K, a C. What about a creepy caterpillar? Creepy. A crawly caterpillar. Okay. On a slug, there's lots of words that start with the S sound, lots of adjectives. What about a smelly slug? Oh, I'm making it sound really gross, my ingredients. Okay, so if you haven't got your whiteboard and pen now, make sure you go and get them. Split them into the 3 categories for the words and find me some adjectives that make alliteration for your words. Okay, off you go. I hope you've got some great adjectives for your alliteration there, and I'm going to reveal some of mine year 3. Let's see if you've got any of the same. So I've got wobbly, wimpy, wriggly and wet for worm. I've got creepy, crunchy, crumbly and curly caterpillars. I've got smelly, slimy, salty, and slithering slugs. Okay, well done if you've got some of the same, and I can't wait to see if some of you have got some different. So make sure you take a picture of it and send it into the year 3 email. Okay, so now you've got a task with these. Okay, with your adjectives and your nouns. We are going to put them into some alliteration sentences. So, with your adjectives now, you are going to create a 2A. Okay, so you know you've got 2 adjectives and a comma. Okay, so 2 adjectives and a noun. So, for example, for our worm, we could write... Okay, so I'm going to get my pen. Now, what have I written on here? I have written, I've got a wobbly, wet. I really like those 2 adjectives. They are my favourite. So I'm going to flip my whiteboard on the other side and I am going to write wobbly. Wobbly. What must I have before I write my other adjective? A comma. Wobbly, wet, worm. Okay, and then I'm just going to put a full stop to show that I have ended my sentence there. Okay, so your task now is I want at least 3 sentences from you showing me some 2A using your adjectives and your nouns, okay? So think, could I write crumbly, salty worm? No, because that's not alliteration. They don't start with the same sound. I want a sentence just like mine. Wobbly, wet, worm. They all start with the W sound. Okay, so I want 3 from you, please, year 3. So hit pause on the video and write those 3 sentences. Okay, year 3, we're finally at the end of our video, ready for our final purple book task. And this is the most important task so that we can achieve our learning question. Okay, so we are going to now write our ingredients for our marvellous medicines, but I want everybody's to be different. So, in your marvellous medicine, you can in fact use worms, caterpillars and slugs, but I want to see if you can find some different nouns, some different things that you are going to put in your medicine. I've come up with some disgusting ones here. I've got snakes, nails, okay, skin, eyeballs, mud, slime and hair. Imagine hair in a medicine. Okay, so have a think quickly. What ingredients am I going to put in my medicine? Can I make them as creative as possible? Right, Year 3, are you ready for your final task for today? I hope you've worked really hard at home. Okay, so your work should look something like mine here. Okay, it's presented very neat and we should have our third task now. So, I have written a title, My Marvellous Medicine Ingredients. And if you need the spelling for that, hit pause on the video now so that you can get your spelling correct. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to create a list of the ingredients that we want in our marvellous medicine. So I hope you've had a think of what ingredients are going to go in there, and we are going to present them using bullet points. Now remember from the newspaper article, what do bullet points look like? They look like a little dot at the side, okay? So one ingredient is going to go to 1 bullet point. So I'm going to start with one of these on the board to help me first, one of my adjectives, okay? Because I really want some worms in mine, okay? And I really liked wobbly, wet worms, okay? Has that got alliteration in it? Do they all start with the w sound? Yes, so I can use that in my ingredients, okay? So I'm going to have wobbly. Or what do I need between my adjectives? A comma, wobbly, wet, worms. Ugh, that's disgusting. Full stop, okay? And my next ingredient, I am going to put a bullet point. Oh, I wonder what I could make really disgusting in my recipe, in my medicine. What about mud? Oh, mud from the ground outside. Now, I've got some adjectives for mud. Could I write dirty, disgusting mud? Now, dirty and disgusting start with the same sound, but does mud, dirty, disgusting mud? No, it doesn't. So I want my letters, my adjectives to start with the M sound. Okay, what about mouldy? Ooh. Mouldy, comma, mouldy, mysterious mud? No, I don't like that. Mouldy, manky mud. Oh, that's a good one. Mouldy, manky, that means a little bit dirty mud. Okay, so some of you might be saying to me, this mouldy and manky isn't a word, but I can be quite silly with my ingredients because they've got to be so gross. Okay, so I want at least, how many do I want? I want at least 6 ingredients from you today, Year 3. 6 ingredients. And you must use your alliteration, okay? Because that is our learning challenge for today. So I want 6 ingredients, so I expect to see 6 bullet points, and I can't wait to see who has the grossest, marvellous medicine in the entire year. Okay, so what I will do is I will leave those nouns up for you, those words, okay, so that it can help you with your ingredients in your medicine, okay? I really look forward to seeing your ingredients, okay? Have a lovely Monday and I'll see you tomorrow for Tuesday's learning. Bye-bye.